You know what, besties? Because I've started so late, let's just bin off starting soon. We're here anyway. Let's not just, like, sit and wait for 5 minutes. We can just, yeah. Hi, no friends. I hope you're all doing well. How are we? What's that? An envelope. Cool. How are we? I hope this still works and doesn't look weird. Good. Okay, I've moved some things off my desk. How do I change the light? Like this. Oh god, get your shit together, Blair. Get your shit together, whatever's going on. Oh, I should turn the music down a bit now I'm speaking, shouldn't I? There we go. Maybe leaving at 7:30. What are you doing? If you want to share publicly, what are you doing? Ah, okay, archery comp. Cool. Cool. I hope that goes well, friend. You got this. Last trial before you ditch archery for a solid month. Ah, okay, got you, got you. Need to refill water, but better comfy. Get yourself hydrated, bestie. Oh, and yeah, I see you had a nap as well. Love that for you. Love that for you. Oh, how was work today? How was work, Berry? We've not had a catch up today. How was that? Yes, stay hydrated. I've done everything I normally do before stream. I've announced in Discord. I've posted on Instagram. The lights set up. Cool. Your new watch track your nap. You felt like such a loser. Oh, you have a new watch. Ooh. Ooh, I'm interested. I do want a watch that tracks my sleep, but I don't want to go to sleep wearing a watch. Like, I've tried. I don't. No. Like, I'm a stats nerd, so I really want to, like, see how I slept and, ooh, light sleep, heavy sleep, periods of being awake. I'm curious. But I don't want to wear a watch to bed. I don't want to do it. But, yes, what is the watch? Because I'm curious. What is the brand of watch? I'm curious. Ooh, love that. You have told me before that your dad got like some bottles of Prime hydration energy drink. That's all I've ever known your dad to get from work. So fucking hell, Galaxy Watch, love that. I think a Galaxy Watch is the one I would buy as well if I was going to get any. Yeah, no, like Prime drink or Galaxy Watch. I know what I'm taking. Respectfully, I do know what I'm taking. Some speakers, wireless chargers, love that. That's really good. You had a TV before, damn. That is good. I occasionally get written off bars of chocolate. And that's all I ever get. But you know, this is fine. This is fine. Hey Trev, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Hi Pars, well, hello. How are we all? How are things? I really did not mean to start this late. I really did not. But you know how it be. So just with your off lint and mini egg bars. Oh, have those mini egg bars gone? Ooh, that is good. You're good, you're doing great. I'm happy for you both. Love that. They have. Noted. Noted, Berry. Noted. Okay. Interesting. Right, I have yaps for you. Now you want lint. I wonder if there are any left. Because, oh, Blair, right, this is lore for you. So in my shop we sell lint. And the process for things going out of stock is a month before things go out of date. Sorry, out of date, not out of stock. When things go out of date, a month before, we mark things down to half price, right? Lint refuses to let us do that. It's full price or nothing. So when lint goes out of date, there's always loads of it left. So we get loads of boxes. Like, loads of them. Yeah, Barry, our company that we work for is prohibited from lowering the price of Lindt chocolate. They refuse to do it. It is forbidden. And they would rather it just not get sold than put it down to half price and at least, you know, shifting it. What do we say? Hello. Hello, what do we say? How's things? But yes. Apparently, yeah. Apparently, unless Blair's gonna hit us with some common sense, which Blair's very good at, then yes, they literally won't let us do half price. Oh, I see, yes. If there's still any left, because they did go out of date on the 1st of October. So if there's still some left, yes, I will do that. Also, I see someone said, how am I? I'm doing okay. I'm a bit late. Because at like 7:30 I was going to put my food on, and instead I had an existential crisis. So I'm doing okay. I've bounced back, but that's why I'm late to stream today. Most into it probably is, yeah, because it's like a high quality, you know. Yeah, there you go. Probably because of that they won't do it on the cheap, but like, really? I mean, I'll take it. But like, my parents have already got 3 boxes, so you know. As if anyone gives a shit. Actually though, like, what's going on? Do we care? Do we care? Right, I have story time for you. So, my washing machine broke. I think I told this story last stream. My washing machine broke. So, as this place is rented, it's not on me to get a new one, which is very nice. And so yeah, the new one came today, which you may notice is just, there's a chair in front of it, sorry, but it's just in the middle of my room. Live, laugh, love. So that's my day today, because these poor lads, genuinely very nice lads, brought it into my flat, which, as a reminder, I live up 2 flights of stairs. I do not envy these people at all for pulling this all the way in. Hi, Berry. Hello. I see you. Hi. Yeah. So, these poor lads brought it all the way up and then pulled out my old one. Oh, hi, washing machine. Okay. That's nice of you. Yeah, pulled out the old one to, you know, take it away and put in the new one. And apparently it is fixed into the wall in such a way that they did not have the I don't know if it's an insurance reason or a skills reason, I don't know, but they were unable to pull out the old one. So the old one is still behind it there. Still in its little hole. Yay. So, I'm getting a premium engineer coming on Wednesday, and up until then, and for any streams in the next few days, we're going to have a washing machine just there, as a little extra guest. I don't know. So that's my life. That's my day. To be fair, the machine looks pretty good. It's like probably a better machine, so that's a win. But engineer, please. Premium engineer. Literally, he said premium engineer, and I was like, right. Okay, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? They need a premium engineer for our lift, honestly, they do. They really do. Did you have to pay for it? I personally did not. So we bought... Of course, the person who owns the building has bought the machine and has paid for it to be installed. So the premium engineer is not going to cost anything extra, apparently. But, yeah, it's not going to be a me problem. Yeah, they paid for the machine and the installation, which is good. It is what they've got to do, you know, they own the place. I'm like, bro, I just live here. Pays to rent sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it does. But yeah, no, it was literally just a case of like, hi, my washing machine's broken. Okay, we'll send you a new one. When are you free to have it delivered? So, yes, that's going to happen on Wednesday. It's going to happen on Wednesday, sometime in the morning from 7 a.m. Please no, let's not do that. Let's not have these people show up at fucking 7 a.m. I don't want to do that. Like, it has to be because I work in the afternoon, so I get why I need the early shift. I've asked for the early appointment. But, like, no, please. Please, I don't want to do that. Literally, though, like, well, for a business like that, I guess, you know, they want to fit in as many appointments as they can over the course of the day. But, like, no. Show up at the pub you work at that early. What, like trying to get as customers? And then is their name Keith? Like, what the fuck? That's so weird. Absolutely not. I have a second tangent for you that my phone's just lit up. Has my going live thing only just happened? No, it hasn't. Okay. There's earlier than that. There actually is. It's a related tangent, but oh yeah, Barry, I think you know this already. Sorry. But my flat got to use the word broken into is the wrong word. My flat was not broken into, but yeah, no, my flat got entered without my permission or knowledge on Thursday, which is nice. I love that for me. Like, it's fine, everything's fine. Nothing is broken or taken, and everything happened as it was supposed to. But like, it feels grim that someone just like, it was for the washing machine stuff. For like, you know, it was people that are linked to the property management, but like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not a trespassing note. Well, I think in my contract that I've signed, it says they need, by law, to give me 24 hours notice unless the circumstances are exceptional. Which is like, what counts as exceptional? Is taking off the door from the washing machine because it was all panelled in, is that exceptional? I don't know. Everybody was so nice, and I'm sure everybody was trying their best and had the best of intentions. But like, oh, no, let's not do that. Oh, yeah, no, I don't like it. I mean, every time someone has to come in, it's like, I want to be here just because, but then, you know, if I've got like no notice, you know, on a real level, I would have tidied up a bit more. There was more than one pair of socks just on the floor, which I don't mind telling you, but strangers, you know, maybe not. Maybe let's give me some notice so I can like put that shit away. But it was okay. It wasn't too bad. Yeah. I don't know about that. Exceptions like your roof's gonna cave in. It was. So, what they thought the plan was this was getting fitted today. So yesterday someone was going to come to take out the old machine. So then the day before that, someone had to come to take the door off. Because apparently separate people do all these jobs. So I get why someone had to come and take the door off. You know, but like, what's that phrase? Like an emergency on your part isn't an emergency on my... I don't know what the phrase is, but like, you know, like if you'd planned that a bit better, this would not have had to happen. Like, just a bit... Let's have a better song. There you go, that's a better song. But yeah, no, that's my two stories. I also built a shelf. Sorry, I built a bookcase. I can show you that as well. It's way over there. Sorry, there's a pack of crisps there. But I built that, and I filled it with my shit. And it was all over the floor. So it's better that it's there. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my bookshelf. Yeah. I need to fill more stuff because there's still bits that need to go on it. And to be honest, I think I need to buy a second bookshelf because I've just got too much shit in this flat. Absolute jams. This is on my everyday playlist. A second shit shelf, honestly. I need one. Problem is, I live in one room. This is a concern. But oh well. What can you do, eh? Oh, you know what else I've been really thinking about lately? I've been, like, tremendously tempted to buy an e-reader. Sorry, that pivoted massively. I've been so tempted. Forces you to get rid of your shit shelves. No! No, not the shit shelves. That's sad. Ooh, tell me more. What is your very cool email? If you would like to share, of course. I assume you would because you've brought it up. But yes, if you'd like to share, please do share. You know what? I'm removing a song from this playlist. I'm fed up with it. Having to skip it every time it comes on. Remove. There you go. That's gone. Yeah, no, I sort of want to buy an e-reader, and I don't know if I'm gonna read any books on it, but I would still like one, which is like I shouldn't. If I don't know if I'm going to read any books, I shouldn't want an e-reader, but here we are. I think you pre-ordered about a year ago is available. Ooh. Do I have a tablet? I do. But, like, it's a different screen type, though, isn't it? It's a Oh, are you going to say try it on your tablet first? Is that what you're going to say? Okay, yeah. No, I do have a tablet, but the point is to stop me from looking at screens all day, because when I'm not at work, i.e. today, I've been looking at screens all day. And I know an e-reader is still a screen, but like, e-ink displays don't count. You know, like, let me have this. I mean, I could read a book. I've got like 4 books in here that I haven't read and should read. Plus 2 comics. I really should just pick up a fucking book, to be honest with you. You know what? Another tangent for me is I've seen a book in our shop, in my bookshop, that I would like to buy. Well, I'd like to wait for the library to have copies available, and then I'll get it from the library. But I'm curious about this book. Miranda Hart, I haven't been entirely honest with you. I don't know why, but I'm grabbed by this book. I would like to read it. Which is odd for me, because that doesn't happen very often. Yeah, and I don't know where it's come from, but I'm actually curious to read the book. Which has just come out, for context, it's just come out and it's being sold and promoted in our store. Yeah. Has there? If there has, Blair, I've not seen it. Yeah, no, nor me, Barry, nor me. If there has, I've not heard about it, Blair. Here we go, an article from The Independent. Miranda Hart addresses backlash to health information in her new book. Oh. Criticism of the health information. Okay, she's alleging that things have been misinterpreted in the book because some people feel like she's offering a bit of a cure to chronic illness. Which is, from Miranda's words, not what she was suggesting. Interesting. Well, I've not read it, so I don't know. I think the book is definitely coming from an angle of like her experiences with her own chronic illnesses and what she's found has helped her. And from the sense I'm getting, some people are taking that as medical advice and or her marketing that she's got a cure for it. And her response to that has just been like, I'm just sharing my experiences. Interesting. I've seen that the local library does have some copies. So I'm basically waiting for one of those to either for them to get more copies or the copies that people have now got are going to get, returned. I know what I mean. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I was not aware of that, bless, so thank you. Interesting indeed. Okay, I think that's all of my tangents, so shall we play some games? Shall we play some games, friends? Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like Miranda is cancelled. It's not like that. So, Yeah. Okay, so, friends. We were playing Professor Layton, weren't we? And it sounds like the song is ending, which is ideal time to stop it. Yes, it's ending. Good. Okay. Yeah, I get that sense. I get that sense. Right, let's go. So I don't know what happened last time. It's really not coming back to me, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Yes, go, Berry, go. Okay, the story so far. Layton and Luke are rejoined by Emmy, who's come back from London with valuable information. What sinister truths could lie behind the mysterious death of Evan Bard? Emmy's got back to the library. And we're meeting the chief. Okay. Oh yeah, because Grosky's here and he's going to be like, he'll talk to me. Yes. Oh, Emmy, may we... Oh, sorry. Oh, Emmy, we may have cause to return to London sometime for our investigation. Just touch my car at the entrance to the town. You may select your destination from there. Got it. That way we can catch any puzzles I missed in London. Oh, okay. Exactly. Now, let's get on with the task at hand. Keats, do you have anything? Nope. I'm just too good. Mistalery thrives in fog. The green, moist with early morning dew, is elegantly fragrant. Refined. What the fuck am I saying? Elegantly fragranced. Rising at dawn is worthwhile, if only to taste the ephemeral splendor. Could you use smaller words, please? There's a man in Mistalery called Hair Dye Jakes. I've been thinking of getting a tint myself. What's his actual name? Because it isn't that. I can't remember what his name is. Oh well. How lucky am I that my house wasn't damaged? I can't even imagine how that would feel. I think I've talked to all these people last time. The Spectre will be out causing a ruckus again soon. I just want some peace, for crying out loud. Mimi! Our chief constable is a good man. He's doing a great deal to help rebuild the town, you know. I know Mr. Triton is doing his best for us too, whatever my husband may say about him. Mimi, aww. I'm sure I've already talked to these in this cycle. Cops are fishy if you ask me, even if you don't. Okay. I wonder what Chief Jakes would say if I just never left. Okay, girlie. Sure. Oh! Phew, he has an American accent, doesn't he? How do I do an American accent? I don't know how to say those words in an American accent, so I just won't. The round trip between Grand Bridge and High Yard Hill is a long haul, even for old Bucky here. Yeah, yes, I imagine so. Hey, for my customers, I would do anything. You guys want a ride? A ride? From here, you mean? Wouldn't that be impracticable? Impracticable? Is that a word? Impracticable?
Impracticable.
Yeah, impracticable. Okay. If you say so, game. The word impracticable is not in old Bucky's dictionary. Well, do you want to ride? Bucky's got some great boats here. Oh, does he literally mean like no is not a word in my dictionary, or can't is not a word in my dictionary? Is that what he means? Oh. Wait. But we're not by the river. Are we? That's weird. My father's really important round here, you know. If anyone bothers me, he'll tell them what's what. Of course, he's Chief Constable of the Mistalery Police, so that makes him the most important man. Well, that's very nice for your father. What about you, though? What's your claim to fame? I don't like your tone, lady. I'll tell my father about you, just you wait. Huh, bring it on. I can take you and your illustrious daddy any day you choose. Threatening me, are you? This puzzle will make you eat your words. Dude. Double-sided maze 2. Oh, one of these. Ooh, okay. Guide the ball to start in the bottom right. Okay. So I need to end up there, okay. Okay, I see where I need to end up. Ooh, I don't know about this. No, back at the start. Oh, no. You know what, restart it. Get my amount of turns back down. Right, I was liking this. Then let's try this one then. Yes, 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 I need that one. So then I can do that. And then that. Whee!
I'll handle this one, Professor.
Yay!
You can't let a puzzle intimidate you.
Very nice. Phew, that was a twisty one. You deserve a rest. Thank you. I don't believe it! My brilliant puzzle was cracked by this silly little airhead. Dude, what did you call me? Calm yourself, Emmy. You don't need to stoop to his level. But Professor, listen to him. I shouldn't even be talking to a little gutter snipe like you. Dude. Gutter snipe? I don't like the sound of that. So this is Third Eye Jake's son? What a piece of work. Let's not be too judgmental now, both of you. If you don't like him, just keep away from him. But he's being really rude. Ah, Luke, don't worry. I feel just the same, but we shouldn't let it get to us. So, let's move on. We've got better things to do than waste our time on this creep. Airhead, but his head looks like that. Truly, he looks like the, Where's the GIF? I know exactly. Why isn't there a GIF of it sometimes? Fucking this guy. You know the guy. Wow, that picture's really small. That guy, that's who he looks like. Okay. Miss Tallery Police Station's mission is to serve the people. We sincerely refuse not to cooperate. We're open to the general public, but the Chief Constable's got a lot on his plate at the moment. Yeah, you said that before. Ah, there you are. Chief Constable Jakes will see you now. Our chief is amazingly talented, so show some respect. And tell him I said so, will you? His office is just down the corridor there. Can I rob from the police station? I can. Oh. There we go, 3 for 3. You were slightly delayed, bestie, but that's okay. What did you say the chief of police is known as? Third Eye Jakes. What kind of person calls himself that? Humility may not be the chief's strong suit. He sounds like an excellent detective nonetheless. Let's reserve judgment until we meet the man. Your internet goes a little wobbly whenever you go downstairs. Oh dear. Oh? Oh! His hat not as cool. So, he's probably got a deep voice, hasn't he? So, you're the archaeologist who took it upon himself to investigate the Spectre, eh? Yes, my name's Herschel Layton. It's a pleasure to... Layton, huh? Never heard of you. How's your investigation going? Well, we're just getting started, to be honest. He looks pretty ordinary for someone with a third eye. Emmy, shush. Chief Jakes, did you investigate the death of Mr. Bard last year? I know, right? How dare. No, we just let that one go, huh? What do you think? Bard's death got something to do with the Spectre? I believe there's a possibility of a connection, yes. You determined that the death of Mr. Bard was a suicide. How were you able to determine that? Easy. We found a will. The mere presence of a will is not enough to indicate a suicide, is it? No, it's not. Almost like our big hat isn't enough to indicate someone with police experience. I'm not challenging your judgment, Chief Jakes. I just need to confirm some facts. Then allow me to confirm. I know that Mr. Bard threw himself into the lake because someone saw him. Clark Triton was your witness. So you've done some homework. Yes, Mayor Triton witnessed the thing. Witnessed it while he was out fishing. If you've got a problem with it, perhaps you should take it up with the mayor himself. I see. Thank you for your cooperation. Run along and dig us up some buried treasure now. I'm sorry. Layton. You know why they call me Third Eye Jakes? Yes. They call you that because you've solved every one of your cases. It's because I've solved every one of my... Yeah, that's right. And you know how I've done that? Well, I couldn't say for certain without a full investigation. Let me save you some legwork. My voice has gone too high, hang on. I've solved every one of my cases because I see everything. I see some interlopers crashing my sleepy hamlet. I see the mayor's son running around town with said interlopers. With all due respect, Chief, we were invited to stay here. That's right, by the mayor himself. Really? Did the mayor ask you to drag his boy into town while you investigate Mr. Bard's death? Oh yeah, Paul, you totally could. Totally could. My father doesn't even know where I am right now. It's probably not the argument that you're hoping it'll be, Luke, to be honest. Or the more reason why he might want to know about Layton here sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. We should be going now. Layton, I've got my eyes on you. All three of them. I want you out of Miss Dallery. You understand me? I'll give you 24 hours to pack your stuff, get in that funny little car of yours, and go back to London. The clock is ticking, Layton. You can't do this. Hey, what are you trying to say? That's not fair. Let's just go, Luke. Tick-tock. Tick-tock, Layton. Dude is sus. Oh, another one. What? Huh? I'm sorry? Is he good? The name of Chief Constable Jakes has risen to legendary status through his purportedly perfect track record for solving crimes. Some say he was chosen by fate. The chief is said to let no case go unsolved, and the townsfolk hold him in high regard for this reason. Jakes seems to be able to solve all cases through his incredible powers of deduction. Honestly, though, Barry, they really do. I know, it doesn't make Leighton and Emmy look like they're just sort of kidnapping somebody. When What's-His-Face goes, oh yeah. Yeah, my dad doesn't know where I am right now. Nice one, Luke. I won't stand for this. Chief Jakes is going too far. We have to talk to Luke's father. We will, Emmy, but right now I'm a little more concerned about something else. The police are supposed to protect people. Why would he act like that? Jakes wants us off this case for some reason. Regardless, we have a duty to seek the truth. And to that end, I agree. Let's go and see your father, Luke. Yeah, Oh, okay. I don't know why there's a boat service here. Right, I'm not talking to these people again. I'm sure their dialogue won't have refreshed. Talk to Mimi though, she does. Yeah, same dialogue. Okay. Hi Mimi, bye Mimi, truly. Okay. Sorry, Jakes has ruined my voice. Did I tell you we sometimes hear noises coming from the cellar, even when there's no one down there? Dolan says it's probably just the wind in the floorboards. There's times I think I must be going balmy. Maybe it's the old squire's ghost. I reckon he came to a violent end, you know. You mean Evan Bard? I thought his death was ruled as suicide. Well, just between you and me, he wasn't particularly well liked, was Mr. Bard. He owned most of the land in town and hiked the rent up, right up. That didn't make him any friends. And then he always acted so high and mighty. The only person he would talk to was Mr. Triton. I was dismissed from that household years ago. It was lucky for me they took me on here, I'll tell you. But then, you just don't know, do you? He might have had his own reasons not to want to live. Dialogue's going a bit deep. I see. And you believe he may be haunting this house? Why this one? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. There's no reason at all why he'd come to haunt poor Mr. Triton's house. Oh, don't mind old Beth, dearie. In fact, I have a little puzzle for you, if you fancy it. Lady. What? Huh? Lucky tablecloth. 60 pickerats! Calm yourself. No, actually swerved. Your lucky tablecloth is damaged and you want to salvage it. After cutting off the shaded area, you make 2 straight cuts along dotted lines and end up with 3 pieces. Sewing these pieces together gives you a smaller square tablecloth decorated with 5 complete 4-leaf clovers. Back. Draw 2 lines on the cloth to show the 2 straight cuts you make. Squincing stupid. But 5 completed clovers. Like, are you sure about that? So I've just got... Right, I've got points that I can go cut to and from. But 5 full clovers is mad. How can I do that? Right, so my targets are probably 1, 2, 3. How can I make... Right, okay. How can I make a square with this then? I'm trying random things, I'm sorry. I got like that and like that. What does that do for me? Nothing. Because like I know I could just do that and then put that in. Oh shit. That could then fill in this line again. But then I don't know how I could make a square using these. Try thinking about where the cloth needs to be joined to give 5 4-leaf clovers. That should give you some ideas for how to form the square. Five 4-leaf clovers is crazy. But like 1, 2. If I did lop that off. But then it's like, what else? 3, 4, 5? But how can I make a square with that? Because that's not a square. That's a rectangle. No, that's not where it would go, would it? It would go down here. I can't draw. But it's a smaller square as well, and that's quite big, isn't it? And that would only give me 4 complete clovers anyway. Oh, this is long, isn't it? Right, how many things wide was it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. Ow. Oh, lad, I don't know. Only one of the pieces will contain exactly 4 squares of material. One of the pieces will contain exactly 4 squares of material. And will it be 4 complete squares? Because I don't see how you can do that. One of the lines you should cut starts from the top right of the piece of cloth. What? One of the lines you should cut starts from the top right of the piece of cloth you had to cut out. What? What does that even mean? One of the lines you should cut starts from the top right of the piece of cloth you had to cut out. Oh. I understand now. Top right of the piece of cloth you had to cut out. It travels diagonally down to the right. So that's what you're telling me. And then that has 4 pieces of cloth, I suppose. So where can I put that then? That is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. I really can't picture how you can make a square out of it. And if I cut that one, that could go in there. And then it's 1, 2. But then that won't make it. Oh, that won't make a shape with 4 sides. What is happening? I don't know. I don't fucking care. One of the cuts starts from the bottom left corner and heads up diagonally to the right. How the fuck does that make a square?
How about this?
I need to see an image of that.
Do it.
There's no shot of me visualising that. Get a grip. Although I did forget about the cloth thing. So that's on the top. Yeah, I get that. That one goes there. Then that corner goes in there. But then what piece lines up with that? I can't cope. Moving on. Gonna drown my sorrows with a Haribo. I really think it would, but I couldn't even draw that accurately enough, I don't think. Now, I ain't one to gossip, and I would never say a word against the master, but Beth, spill the tea, girlie, let's go. It is a bit strange how Mr. Bard left all his land to Mr. Triton. They weren't related or nothing. Then there's the way the master has become all funny ever since Mrs. Triton's been gone. Interesting. Right, where is he? Is he going to be in here or is he going to be in his study? Oh, I'll talk to this guy though, I like him. Good day, Mr. Lee. Master Luke. Mr. Triton is presently in the first floor study. Okay. How is the investigation going, Herschel? I hope Luke hasn't been troublesome. Quite the contrary, Luke's been very helpful. Clark, I would like to ask you something. Of course, how can I help? I need you to tell me everything you know about the death of Evan Bard. Evan Bard? Oh, okay. I was hoping for a cutscene, but I will take some illustration. I'll tell you the same thing I told the police. I saw someone fall off a cliff. That's it. I didn't see anyone else around. I didn't even know it was barred when it happened. Chief Jakes closed the case as a suicide. Yes, well, that makes sense if no one else was there. What about the will? Why would Bard leave you his land deeds? Evan was a friend, and the only person in town with whom I could discuss intellectual matters. When you're the mayor, I feel like you shouldn't call the entire town stupid, but that's just me, bro. That's just me. You would have liked him very much, Herschel. Of course, I was still very surprised by the will. Chief Jakes confirmed the will and acted as the executor. He took care of everything for me. Clark's writing the biggest hater. He hates everybody. I became an extensive landowner overnight and have been dealing with the red tape ever since. Oh, poor you, Clark. And Ariana and her brother? They are still the future heirs, as far as I'm concerned. I only planned to oversee the land until they were of age. Unfortunately, it is possible that Ariana will not live long enough to see that happen. So, you know about her illness? Have I watched Broadchurch? I have not. I have not. Is it an elected mayorship or is he just the mayor? I can't remember. I actually can't remember. I don't know. But no, I've not watched Broadchurch. I know my parents love it. I like a lot of the people in it. And I hear the writing is very good, although I have a personal dislike of the writer. But I do hear it's very good. So I should give it a go. It was a good show, yeah. I do hear good things. I mean, it's David Tennant, so... Well, David Tennant and Olivia Colman, so... I'm invested. But, like, you know. We'll see. I've got so many things to watch. Oh, I've got so many things. So many things. And Jodie, yes, true, and Jodie as well. Who else is in it? Sorry, it's IMDb time. A specific dislike of the writer. Broadchurch. Stars. Oh, the pictures are so tiny if you're on the web. Arthur Darvill! Shut the front door. Arthur Darvill's in it. Oh, I might have to watch it then, you know. Oh, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Okay. Lenny Henry. Eve Miles is in it. British A-listers. Oh, yeah. David Bradley's in it? Oh, my God. Oh. Tangent. David Bradley's going to Liverpool Comic Con. I'm slightly tempted. Fucking Jim Howick's in it. Oh my God, Jim Howick is in this. No one's told me this news. One of your friends was asking today if you want to go. I've looked at who's going. Brandon Routh is going, who I love, and David Bradley. They're the only people I'd like actually go and see. Well, saying that, you know, it costs a lot of money to go and see these people, so, like, would I actually even do that? I don't know. But, Yeah, no, some good people in that. Wow. It's when you'd be going... I don't quite know what you mean, Black, because that sounds like an ideal thing. If it's when you're free. I don't even know when it is. When is it? Oh my god, Ralph Fiennes for 150 quid. I can go and see. Okay. Liv Tyler's going. Oh my god, Sebastian Stan is going. Sorry, absolute. The tangents are tangenting right now. Matt Ryan's going. Ooh. Ooh. Peyton List, love that. Oh, Gareth David Lloyd's going. Oh. Oh. Peggy, aka Dogpool, is going. I can go and meet Dogpool. Sick. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Oh, it's kind of soon. Okay, I see when it is. Yeah, no, I would be up for meeting David Bradley. Oh, Miranda Otto's going. Oh. That's kind of cute. Love that. Okay. Sorry, back to video gaming. So you know about her sorry, a child is very ill and might not make it to adulthood. Sorry about that. Of course, it's truly tragic. I don't know what I would do if such a fate were to befall Luke. Evan was always so attentive to his children. I was shocked to learn that he hadn't made adequate provisions for them. Do you agree with Jake's conclusion about Bard's death? Well, he is much more qualified to make that judgment than I am. He is Third Eye Jake's after all. Yes, that name derives from his ability to solve every case, I understand. Every case, yes. Herschel, the man has practically eliminated crime in Mistallery. Besides the activities of witches and spectres, of course. What are you implying, Herschel? Please, just this once. Stop speaking in riddles. Cases ruled as accidents, unexplained confessions, complaints being withdrawn. Yes, go on. It's a common pattern amongst solved cases. Herschel, you don't think Jakes has anything to do with Bard's death, do you? Would the Master like to have his dinner now? Doland, now's not the time. Doland, you gave me quite a start. How long have you been there? Only moments, sir. I apologise if you did not hear me knock. Am I disturbing the Master? No, of course not, no. Yes, dinner sounds splendid. Herschel, Emmy, please join us. We have several aged wines in the cellar, Herschel. Perhaps you could go down and select a bottle for us. You want me to pick a wine? Perhaps the Master would prefer I selected a wine to go with dinner? Oh, no. Our friend Leighton is quite the connoisseur when it comes to wine. Isn't that right, old boy? Can we get Leighton on the sesh? Can we do this? Why, it would be my pleasure. Where's the wine cellar? Oh, he just didn't answer. Okay. Leighton drunk era, truly. Let's get Leighton drunk. I didn't know you were into wine, Professor. Is there anything you don't know about? To be honest, I'm more of a connoisseur of tea. I can't claim to know much about wine at all. Really? Then why did Clark say that to you? Say that you do? Seems to me that Clark was fabricating a reason for us to see the basement. There must be something there. I think we should do as he wishes. The cellar's through the blue door down on the ground floor hallway. That would be there. It looks like a normal cellar to me. What are we supposed to notice? Luke, does anything strike you as out of the ordinary? No, not really. Actually, the basement's been off limits lately, so I can't say for sure. Off limits, eh? Did you get caught down here scoffing fruit tarts between meals, Luke? What? No. They were eclairs, and that's not the point. Shh, quiet. What is it, Emmy? I thought I heard something. Maybe I imagined it. Wait, I swear to God, if like the wife is shackled up down here. I beg your pardon? My apologies, Luke. I wonder if there's something we're missing. Professor Leighton, is there anything I can do to help? No, I think we're fine, Dolan, thank you. Dolan, did you happen to know Mr. Bard as well? Yes. I know it isn't kind to speak ill of the departed. I fucking hated him. But Mr. Bard was a man who charged extortionate rents to those who lived on his land. Some are inclined to believe he was thrown off the cliff by an angry tenant. Surely a cultured man like yourself is aware of how the locals will gossip. It's too bad that's all Bard is remembered for. Most everyone knew him. Most everyone despised him. Oh, but I do prattle on. If you selected a wine, I can carry on with preparing dinner. Doland, has my dad been acting strange to you lately? He has been rather preoccupied, I would say. Much of his time is spent in the study. Yes, clearly Clark has other matters at hand. Let's get going. You're not staying for dinner? We'll have to do it another time. Please give my regards to Clark. Thanks for your help, Doland. My pleasure. Do be careful out there. What is occurring? What's going on? It's a wine rack. The bottles are arranged haphazardly. Do you think they forgot to tidy them up? Having bottles laying on the ground isn't very wise. Let's put them away before someone breaks one. Lane just can't help himself. Love that. Wine wise. 50 picarettes. In order to store this fine wine in an appropriate manner, the following rules must be observed. White wine should always be stored so that there is only one bottle on any horizontal, vertical, or diagonal line. Red wine should also be stored so there's only one bottle on the same horizontal, vertical, and diagonal line. The two bottles in the crate already cannot be moved. Can I work out a way to store them? Certainly. Let's do that. Tried and tested method of spacing things out. What do we make of that? Good, good, good. Yep. Yep. Yep, yep. Yep, 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 yep. Sorry, I'm moving the mouse while I do things. Just the Nintendo DS stylus is what I'm moving. Absolutely. Don't come for me, Nintendo. It's real, I know. Yep, 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 yep. Lovely. I think that's it.
Some puzzles must be met directly.
Whee!
No puzzle is without an answer.
Well done. The bottles may be placed as shown in the 2 diagrams. Who would have thought that storing wine was so complicated? Easy. Easy spacing. Perfect. That's everything tidied away now. That was fun. No, it wasn't, Luke. Stop lying. Whoa, this bottle dates from the year I was born. Mature vintages are said to have a more subtle flavour. Wouldn't it make you ill to drink something that old? Someone's good at stacking boxes. Ooh. These look heavy indeed. They must be packed full of things. Don't even think I could pick one of those up off the floor. Right. So when I leave the house, some latent better give me some absolute tea. Professor, what was that about? What with the library and Clark's account, there are still many questions about Bart's death. This, coupled with the Spectre not being reported outside of Mistallery, troubles me. It would appear that someone is carefully manipulating information about these 2 events. A falsified report and a cover-up conspiracy. This is shaping up to be quite a case. But who is capable of doing this? There's only one person I can think of. Who, Luke? Chief Constable Jakes. He's in a position to do both of those things. Luke is spot on. Jakes is the only one in town capable of both. Plus he's obviously evil. But you know. He's supposed to be a public servant. That's just unforgivable. Emmy, your faith in public servants is inspiring. However, there's no doubt that Jakes is withholding information. We need to find out more about him. Oh, am I just wandering around and yapping to people? Okay. Oh god, not her. Oh, Inspector Grosky, your muscles glisten in the country just as they do back in London. How manly. You again? What are you doing here? For Grosky, I would walk through fire. Luckily, I didn't have to do that. I just took a taxi out here. Emmy, do you know this woman? Oh, Blair, we've met this woman before. Sort of. I bumped into her in London. Grosky told me he had a lead. He must be on the trail of a notorious criminal. Oh, it's too exciting. He seemed even more determined than usual. I wish he would search for me with that kind of passion. You know how I misread sentences sometimes? I may have skipped a single word and was like, what the fuck? I may have read, I wish he would search me with that kind of passion. Let's move on. I won't alone. Thank you. Thank you, Pa. I'm glad. He said he had a lead. Which way did he go? I mean, what do you mean, Barry? What do you mean? He just ran off that way. He's probably at the crossroads now. We might still be able to catch him. Let's hurry. A new episode. Hannah in Love. Oh, huge. Huge. Episodes. Hannah in Love. Let's go. Everything went wrong at work today and I lost my scarf. What a ghastly day. And now I'm going home to that cold, lonely box of a flat. Why must life be so unkind? Oh no. Oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. Not to me. Not like this. Oh no. Eek! Oh, pardon me, miss. I was pursuing a criminal. You aren't hurt, are you? Sounding familiar? I don't know what you mean, Barry. I don't live in a flat I would describe as a box. I don't know what you mean. No, I'm fine. Are you all right? Oh, don't think I could ever come into harm running into a delicate lady like yourself. Now I'm on the trail of a dangerous suspect. I must take my leave. Good day to you, miss. Stop right there, you thug! Halt! Oh gosh, wow, he was simply gorgeous. Those bulging muscles, that luxuriant chest hair. And so attentive to me, such a gentleman. It's as though he walked straight out of my dreams. I know, right? I love when he runs. What luck. Why did I ever care about my job? Now I know such a man exists, I will devote my life to winning his heart. Why am I hanging about here? I've got to go home and get ready for this new full-time commitment. Wait for me, I won't be long, my darling, my Romeo, my Prince Charming. Yeah, okay. Okay. Sure thing, Hannah. Oh, we can't even leave. They're like, no, you will not take the boat.
What's this?
Gentlemen, I hope we're not going to have any
Oh,
trouble.
Emmy fucked them up. Fuck are these? The way they just like back out of shot. Get wrecked. Literally doing that.
Your methods are unorthodox, but very effective.
Thanks. Whenever you need a little muscle, you just let me know, Professor, and I'll be there.
I'll keep that in mind.
I love her.
Who are these men? Do you think Jake sent them after us?
Yes, I
Looks
think
like
that.
Jakes didn't want to wait the full 24 hours to get rid of us.
Was Mr. Bard killed by these thugs?
Unfortunately, we can't say for certain.
She truly is the brains and the brawn. Leighton, Emmy, I've been looking all over for you two. No. I've got a very corporal lead on that Spectre of yours. Really? That's great, Inspector. Hi, Grosky. Hello. Wait, oh my god, I could have a Grosky emote that slides in. Because I think I've got animated slots left. Please hold, this is important. How do I... Emotes there. Okay, hear me out. I have multiple slots. We could have a Grosky arrive and a Grosky leave. This is about to be huge. Leave that one with me. Really? That's great, Inspector. Hannah has entered the chat. Literally, Hannah will be in the chat. The police chief in this town is really ahead of the game. He said that a tall-hatted gentleman and a fiery young lady abducted the mayor's son. He added they were posing as investigators, when in fact, they were controlling the Spectre. Not to dampen your spirits, but that does narrow the suspect down a fair bit. Is any of this true, Leighton? Explain yourself. Oh, I thought he was going to say, right, we need to look. We need to look for a guy in a hat. But apparently no, he is slightly smarter than that. Good for him. Chief Jakes hasn't given us a warm welcome, that's for certain. Don't be fooled, Inspector. Jakes is the real culprit. I know it. What? Jakes, you say? Vroom vroom. So he's trying to pull the wool over my eyes, eh? I, Grosky of the Yard, will not take such shenanigans sitting down. Inspector, wait! He really is quick for someone his size. Yes, you'd need a time machine to keep up with Grosky. That was last game, Leighton. That was last game. Professor, we didn't get to tell Grosky what's happening. Should we go after him? No, let's avoid running into Jakes again if possible. We need to continue our investigation. My concern's growing about the situation with Jakes, however. Whee! Chapter 8, face to face with the Spectre. Oh, that, yeah, no, when he comes in and out of frame, there's always a running sound effect. It's so good. We need to work fast. Jakes is just waiting for an opportunity to take us out. Yes, we'll have to be really careful. I think we should be alright as long as we stay in populated areas. No, you'll be alright if you keep Emmy with you. That's how you'll be alright. Is my webcam a bit high up? I feel like I'm like way down here, but oh well. Yes, populist areas. Luke, who knows that you are the one predicting the Spectre's appearances? Have we asked how Luke is doing this, by the way? Just Doland. He promised he wouldn't mention it to the police. I see. Well, young Oracle, do you know where the Spectre will strike next? Not yet, no. Ah, well, I have a prediction. I believe the next attack will take place between High Yard Arch and the reservoir. What? So you can predict the future too? Not quite, Emmy. I simply deducted it from Luke's notes. My notes? Yes, looking at the records you kept proved to be quite helpful. I now know that the Spectre never strikes the same street twice. It has appeared in the same area on more than one occasion, but it spreads out its attacks. Of course, I hadn't realised that. It's all in there. By looking at the patterns, we can work out where the Spectre will appear next. That's amazing, Professor. We might just stay one step ahead of Jakes with this information. Let's head for High Yard Arch. Alright. Let's go. Mist Allery thrives in fog, green, moist with early morning dew. It's elegantly refined. Rising at dawn is worthwhile only to taste the ephemeral splendour. Okay. No new dialogue, sad times. Hair-dye Jakes again? Yep. Hair-dye Jakes? Yep. Cool. Okay, I'll stop talking to the NPCs because their dialogue is not refreshed. Oh, Mimi's gone. No. It looks as if you were right, Mr. Leighton. Why did you say that? The Spectre will appear here tonight. Really? Please go on. How do you know, Luke? It's the water level.
The water level? What about it? I suppose I can tell you now, Mr. Layton. Of course, you know by now that I'm not some supernatural oracle. I've been able to predict when and where the Spectre would appear because of one simple thing. It was the water level in the canals. At first, I just noticed it by chance. I was walking through town and saw that the water level was very low in one stretch of canal. I didn't think much of it until the Spectre attacked that very spot the same evening. It appeared just in the place where the water was low. I thought it might have been a coincidence, but I started tracking water levels just in case. Why is this kid not in school? Like, what are you doing? After that, I realised there must be a connection. Whenever the water level fell, that meant the Spectre would attack there that night. You came up with all that by yourself? Wow. I wonder if the Spectre somehow needs water to appear. Hang on a sec. Luke, why didn't you tell us this earlier? That info might have been useful. I mean, legally, yeah. Depending when the game was set, legally, I think so. It's just, I didn't know if I could trust you, or Mr. Layton. So that means you do trust us now, I suppose. Hey, hang on another sec. How were you tracking water levels in town if you hardly ever leave your room? I had help from my friend. This is Toppy.
Someone hit the redeem. Someone hit the redeem, please.
Squeak.
Thank you.
What? Why do you have a mouse in your pocket?
Well, as I said, he's my friend. I don't get everything he says, but I understand enough. Thank you, yes. Same brain.
Wow, so you can talk to mice?
I think that could be even weirder than the whole Spectre business.
Well, I don't really understand it either.
We've seen stranger things since we arrived here, Emmy. So, Luke, the Spectre will appear here tonight. Yes, if my theory is correct. Well, Professor, what should we do? Let's see if Luke's theory holds water, so to speak. He's got puns. So, should we tell Dolan so he can alert the police? Actually, no. Let's evacuate the residence on our own this time. What? Why, Mr. Layton? We're going to set a little trap for the Spectre. We are? What are we going to do? What are you planning, Mr. Layton? We're going to have a final showdown with the Spectre. I did not think we were near the end of the game. No, not. Okay. I see where I'm at. Cool. How are we going to do that? First, we'll evacuate the residence. Then we'll need to visit the black market. Luke used his ability to talk to animals to speak to a mouse named Toppy and predict where the Spectre would strike based on the rodent's information. Luke had Toppy examine all of the waterways and find which ones were lower than usual.
bit of a problem.
I assume you're referring to one Herschel Layton? I must decide on a plan of action for when he finds out, and he will find out.
You already know about this guy?
I do. Fate is so interesting sometimes.
I love him. Professor, how are we going to get everyone in the area to evacuate without the help of the police? Luke, do you know anyone that could take charge of an operation like this? I think Grep would do it. He loves ordering people around. He's certainly scary enough for the job. Who's Grep? I can't remember. If Grep told people to leave, they would definitely listen to him. He's probably still at Paddy's restaurant, gripping. Splendid. Maybe we can persuade him to channel his energy into helping the residents. So off to Paddy's restaurant then? I wonder what his special is today. A new episode has been added to the trunk, Toppy's secret. I hope you're all appreciating that I've not made any jokes about Toppy, topping, anything like that. Just so you know, I hope you appreciate that. Right, for Toppy the Mouse, patrolling the streets for clues and reporting the findings to Luke is all in a day's work. I don't know if the cooldown's available yet. It is sad times. Okay, you're going to get a fresh one then. Squeak! That was fucked. Where in the fuck did you come from? What the fuck? Also, hello. Don't worry about what just happened. Hi, bestie. How are you, friend? I hope you're doing well. I miss you. How are you? I feel like it's been so long and it's only been like a few days. How are you? I hope things are good. Tell me everything. I don't know. Wanting to talk to you. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. If you can, of course, stay in chat. I would love to hear all about what's been going on with you. But yeah, thank you for the sub as well. I really appreciate it. Oh my god. Hey, I thought I just saw something. Oh, yes, it appears that the smallest of Miss Tallery's citizens use this bridge. You're good, your other friend's helping paint another room and we're taking a little break before heading back in. No worries. Painting goes well. That's not fun. Sadly, you can't talk for long. That's so okay, friend. We need to hang out soon. We need to. Okay? We need to. Are you doing well? I miss you. I'm doing, bestie. I'm doing. We're okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Same. I think everybody feels that right now. Yeah. But thank you for stopping in at all. I really appreciate it, and I hope. I mean, to me, painting sucks, but I hope you're able to at least have a good time painting with your friend. It's going, yeah. I feel that, honestly. Yeah. We gotta find some time soon. You love painting. Okay, that's good. Okay. I can't remember the last time I painted anything. I don't know when I last did anything.
Like, I'm talking painting walls, I mean. But like, oh, I really don't know. I really don't know. You painted last weekend. Fucking of course you did. Of course you did. Okay, sure. Sure. No, I love that for you, though. I love that. Yeah. I feel like I should show Mimi things, but I've sort of got nothing to show. It's a bit sad, isn't it? What have I got to show Mimi? I don't know. There's nothing new in this whole entire place, I don't think. Oh well. Oh well, never mind. For that, it's been like a year, no, a few months. I feel like it's been a few months because didn't you like help Misha and is it Misha and Scott? Is that who Scott is? I can't remember. Too many names, but did you help them decorate or did you just help them move? I forget. I forget, but you're such a good friend though for doing this for everybody. You're such a good friend. Oh my god. Yeah, good. Let me just quickly check some work rotas because I think I've done the right thing. Oh, are you with Scott now? Oh, fun. Hi, Scott. Which is out of town. Sad times. No worries though. I say no worries. Why would it possibly be worries? But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay. Random question to call somebody out. Barry, are you working next Sunday? Not tomorrow. Next Sunday. Are you working that, or rather, do you know that you're working that? Yeah. Okay. Sad news. I'm not working that shift anymore. I've had to get out of that one. Oh hey, hey Scott. Hello. Thank you for following. I hope you're doing well. I assume you're painting as well. I hope the painting's going well. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Barry. Yeah, to be honest. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna do so good. Yeah. You're gonna do great, even though you won't have a full day off work for quite a while. But yeah, no, I cannot work it because I've had a booking for like months. Working every day of the week, yeah, I know. He's sitting on his ass making you paint the whole thing. What, his whole ass? Seems a bit weird, but okay. Yeah, I know, working every day that week is so rough though. That is so rough. The whole ass, his whole entire ass, okay. The whole ass. Welcome in, Scott. Welcome to the streams. I would say it's not normally like this, but it is. It is. You know what? I need to get some more beverage. I need more drink. Where did the word beverage come from? Who am I? What is this? What am I doing? Ugh. Beverage. Don't you say that to me. Don't you call me Don Paulo. What would he say for a drink? I feel like he's more of a drinky than a beverage. I think he'd be like a little drinky. I walked to the shops today, and I think my leg is good enough. Right, going back in, you need to drag Scott off his ass. You've both got this. Both of you, Mimi and Scott, you're going to do so great. And yes, thank you for popping in at all. I really appreciate it. Yes, good luck to Scott's whole ass getting dragged. Good luck. Wait, hang on. Let me just scroll up a minute. There you go. That's what we need as a community. 7 Scott's ass. Rip Scott's ass. Sad times. Right. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak. Thank you, Barry. Squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak. This is not going to be a sound alert. You can fuck off. What's the matter, Toppy? Oh, maybe if you're still here, this mouse is called Toppy. Just going to let that sit for a minute. Have you got news? You're certain Spectre will appear tonight, right? Squeak. And the location was North Eli. No change to that. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Yes, yes, yes. Great Eli Street. I told Doland. Thanks again, Toppy. Squeak, squeak, squeak. What? Some people followed you all the way to my house. What people? Who were they? Squeak, squeak, squeak. A man with a top hat and a woman in a yellow coat. I wonder if it could be... Oh, someone's here. Quick, Toppy, hide. Squeak. Luke, my name is Herschel Layton. I'm a friend of your father's. Could we talk for a moment? It's really him. All right, but first you'll have to solve my door puzzle. Well, that was cool. Right, back to the restaurant. Yeah. What? The Spectre's coming? But I have so much to do. I don't have time for any attacks. The Spectre has no respect for people's schedules. Yeah, okay. Okay. This guy. What's his name again? Aldous. Ha 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 ha! I see that even I have become a subject of your persistent prodding technique. Dude. But it is good to see you pay such fine attention to detail. You're certainly not a hurrybody. Come then, sir, let me present you with a gift. A gift that transcends all others. The gift of friendship. Thank you, but I don't give a fuck. Right, who is Grep? I forget. Oh, that guy. Mr. Grep, there's something I'd like to speak to you about. You lot again? Did try and put you up to this? Well, I don't have time for you. Leave me alone. Please, calm down, Mr. Grep. The Spectre will appear again tonight, according to Luke's predictions. Predictions? I'd heard there was someone making predictions, but you're saying it's this child. Never mind that. You say the Spectre's coming? That's no joking matter. Are you sure? Yes, I'm afraid so. Tonight, near High Yard Arch. But the police cannot be involved this time. We have to organise the evacuation in their stead. You are well respected in the neighbourhood. Would you help us get everyone to safety? You're asking me to help? How can I trust you? Why should I believe that this boy can predict anything? If you're trying to manipulate me with some cock and bull story, you'll come to regret it. On the other hand, if what you say is true, the townspeople are in grave danger. Very well. I cannot put my pride before the safety of others. I will help you. But you will have to devise a way to get everyone out in time.
That sounds fair. Would you have any suggestions? I can call on a few friends to help with the evacuation, but the rest is up to you. Evacuate 50 picarots. Grep asked some acquaintances to help evacuate the entire neighbourhood, but he was only able to recruit 9 people. 2 whose voices carry 3 squares, 3 whose voices carry 2 squares, 4 whose voices carry 1 square. Oh, I see. Where should you tell each person to stand so the evacuation message reaches every street in the neighbourhood? You give me a nice visual. Oh, it doesn't go around corners. Oh, that's fucked. Right, no, you can go there. You can probably go there. You can go there. You should go in there. That seems quite good, doesn't it? Ah. Okay, what if you go up there? No, there. It's a problem that it doesn't go around corners. Ah, no, that's also a problem. Hmm. Ooh, yeah.
A challenging puzzle, to be sure.
Eee.
I love the thrill of a good solution.
Correct. Commend your helpers on a job well done. Placing the people as shown above is just one way to get the evacuation message out to the entire neighbourhood. Can you work out the other methods? Yippee! New fish tanks, ear pipes, don't care. Now we can get the evacuation started. Let me handle the people. I won't let anyone in this town come to harm. Thank you, Mr. Grep. We will continue with our investigation. Are we ready for accent time? Hello again, boys and girls. Fancy a quick bite before you head out? He's so scouse. He's so scouse, but I think that accent was awful then. Fancy a quick bite before you head out? I know it seems dead in here, but at least I've plenty of time to lavish attention on me customers. Are you too hungry? Well, we haven't had a great deal to eat since we started the investigation. Perhaps it is time for a break. Lovely. I'll get you some menus while you sit yourselves down. I think I've done better accents, to be honest. Emmy, this is delicious. Here, try some of mine. You two might want to slow down. Your food isn't going anywhere. Chomp chomp. Slurp slurp. Neither of you can hear me, can you? Oh, funny. Slurp slurp. Mr. Layton, what do you have in mind for the showdown with the Spectre? I think it's time we determined the true nature of the Spectre. True nature of the Spectre? And to do that, we need to lay a trap that spans the whole town. Wow, can we do that? Not alone we can't, we'll need quite a few helping hands. If we're not going to ask the police for help, we shall ask the Black Ravens. Ah, good idea, Professor. Let's head to the black market and find Crow. Anything? Nope. Oh, you're new. Hello. Strike me! Finally, someone who's collected 10 mouse badges. I was starting to think no one would be qualified, but there's no need to worry now you lot are here. Oh, I'm not sure we want a job directing the traffic during evacuations. Nah, none of that lark. I was just passing the time with that job. My true calling is fighting all the tiny spectres that threaten this town. What? More spectres? That's right. It's my duty to rid the town of tiny spectres, or, as I call them, mice. Wait, so it's just mice you're talking about here? Just mice? I don't think you know what you're dealing with here. In a town with as many canals as ours, mice are just as damaging as any spectre. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, now you do. Now that you know what's what, I need you to help me with a bit of mouse catching. You just need to touch all of the mice that pop out from various spaces. You'll get points depending on the type of mouse you touch, but if you touch Toppy, you'll lose points, so be careful. So this is another minute. Sign me up. This is not ideal. No, that's Toppy, fuck. This is not ideal with a mouse. No pun intended, actually. Whee! Okay, I want to go again. Your mouse catching rank has gone up. Curse of original hardware. Is it time to bust out the drawing tablet? Because when I first... Oh, fuck. When I first was going to play Leighton, I was like, oh, I can use the drawing tablet as a touchscreen. This is going to be perfect. And then I like, no, that's Toppy. And then I never did it. Because I was like, the mouse is fine, but that could work, right? Oh, I can't click when they're like poking out. That's BS. What? Hey, nice though. Mouse catching rank has gone up. I wonder how much of the mice popping up is RNG. Whoa. Oh, huge, huge, huge! No, fucking pop up, you little bitches. No, that's Toppy, fuck. I've resized the window as well. Oh, no.
Okay, I've popped off. But are that many zeros on the score really necessary? Who's doing that? Like, calm down. I'm nary a mouse now. Okay, that will do. Oh? I'll have a full minute. Sorry, we'll do this last one, and then we'll stop. Oh, that's topic. Stop not poking out properly, you little bitches. I'm so locked in. See, someone's typed in chat. Shut up. I appreciate your being here, but...
Squeak!
Thank you. Woo! Okay. Flaying. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll stop there. Going for a shower? Nice. Nice. Oh god, this guy. Truly can't be bothered. Glad to see that Black Raven Blighter didn't rough you up too badly, bahaha. What's the context for the pin message? No. 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 Go on, what was it? So Mimi's been doing painting. Oh yeah, Mimi's been painting a wall with her IRL friend Scott. And Mimi said, and I quote, "He's sitting on his ass making me paint the whole thing." So I replied with the quick snappy wit of a Twitch streamer. I replied, "He's making you paint his whole ass?" And then Mimi said, "The whole ass." There you go. Here for a bit of that before you dipped. Okay, you must have like just missed it. Yeah, that'll be it. Oh, hello. Bucky, what are you doing here? Now that... What accent did I give him? What breed of American did I give him? I feel like it was a bit sort of hillbilly. Now that's a silly question. Where there's Bucky, there's boats. Where there's boats, there's Bucky. I don't think this is what I did last stream, but oh well. What? Do you mean we can take a boat from here? That's impossible. The word impossible is not in old Bucky's dictionary. Hey, you guys want to ride? Bucky's got some great boats here. Okay, Bucky. Okay. Wait! I've just noticed we've got, I'm sorry, this is really scuffed. We've got Mouse Friend in our party. We've got Mouse Friend. Hey, that's cute. I did not notice that. Scuffed what? Me moving the camera, the top screen feed thing. How can someone like me be defeated by such a simple matter as this? You seem to be in a spot of trouble. Is there anything I can help with? I prepared some sweets for a little boy, but I've got all mixed up with my numbers and jars. Sweet sums. 50 again. Really making me use my brain tonight. Below are 4 rather special sweetie jars, A to D.
The number of sweets in jars A and B combined is exactly twice the number of sweets in jar C. At the same time, the total number of sweets in jars B and D is twice the number of sweets in jar A. But if you move 3 sweets from jar A to jar D, from jar D to jar A, sorry, jar A will have twice as many sweets as jar B. One of the jars contains 6 sweets. Can you work out which? Fuck off. That's a lot. That's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them. Right. At the same time, the total number of sweets in jars B and D is twice the number of sweets in jar A. But if you move 3 sweets from D to A will have twice as many sweets as jar B. Oh no. No, no, no. Hmm. Right, I'm going to assign random numbers. So, if A has 4, no. If A has 5 sweets in it, then it goes to 8 sweets. That would mean B is 4 and 4. So then 5 and 5 is 10. 5 is 10. We know allegedly B is 4, so that would put D at 6. 5 plus 4 is 9, so it can't be that. Because 9 does not divide by 2. Okay. It's important to know. So, right. A has to be an odd number, which then means that B would have to also be an odd number. This is, I don't know where this line of thinking is coming from, but no, but that can't work, can it? Can that work? How can that work? No, that can work, you fool. That can work. As if it was, say, 5 and 5, that would make 10. Let's try it with fucking why not? 6 will go to 9. No, A has to be odd. We've already established. So 3 goes to 6. So 3 and 3. And some 3 plus something. No, that can't work then. Oh, no, it can't. Oh. I can't be bothered. It's C.
Some puzzles must be met directly.
What did I say?
A gentleman leaves no
Now, I'm
puzzle
going to leave it to
undone.
Leighton to explain the answer. I know the answer, but I'm gonna leave it for Leighton to explain what the answer was. Correct. You know that A plus 3 is 2B. Now, as 2B must be even and 3 is odd, A must also be odd. Similarly, thank you for the hydrate. Similarly, A odd plus B equals 2C even, so B has to be odd. B has to be odd. Plus D is 2A, which is even, so D has to be odd. The joy you're looking for, it is an even number of sweets. RC is the only remaining possibility. It must be the answer by default. Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Thank you for the hydrate. Totally knew that. Algebra, yes. Eek! Look, while you've been dilly-dallying, my sweets have started melting. Sounds like a you problem. I can't sell these. I'll have to start all over again. Even a little melted, the taste should stay the same, shouldn't it? Seems a shame to waste them. My dear man, there's no other way. I can't sell these like this. It would go against everything I believe in. Oh, and they look so delicious too. Oh. Emmy's never going to get her sweets. Hello, we have a special on asparagus today, or are you not here to shop? Actually, no, we need your help. Oh, really? Well, you should probably talk to Crow first. Thanks, we'll do that. I just work here. I don't know, I just work here. Oh, hello. When he does his little, like, eye twitch thing, just that part of his face moves, that's horrible. Oh, no. Ah, our very own city gentleman returns. What can I do for you, kind sir? Crow, we need your help in laying a trap for the Spectre. A trap for the Spectre? You must be joking. You'll be saving the town. Very noble, rich boy. But you can't seriously expect us to take on the Spectre. That's alright. The mission is fairly dangerous. It probably isn't too... It probably is too much for a group of children. Whoa, wait. What are you talking about? We may be kids, but we're not afraid of anything. All I'm saying is... How are you going to catch it if you don't even know what it is? Ah, but that's the point. The trap we lay will expose the Spectre's true nature. You really think you can pull that off? With your help, I think we can, yes. Are you interested? Maybe. I'm intrigued now. What do you need from us? Well, the first thing we need is... Oh, okay. And from there, we'll just wait for the Spectre to appear. And then we'll have it. Let's go to the place where the Spectre will appear next. We have a lot to do. Oh. Ooh.
Very pretty. And the music as well, I love it. Emmy, Luke, I believe the Spectre will be appearing soon. I think it will be much easier to get a good view of it through the mist if I wait outside. It's dangerous, but it's a risk I have to accept. What are you planning to do, Professor? I should be able to get a good look at the Spectre if we wait for it from here. I'm so invested, but you should probably go to sleep. You should go to bed. I don't have it on here.
Go to bed.
There you go. Go to bed. Go to bed, bestie. It's so okay. Yes, you have to be up early. Exactly, you have to be up early. Go to bed. Please go to bed. It's so okay. We will be wrapping up soon. I might just do this little bit of story, but then yes, I will go to bed. No, I will stop the stream. But please do nice one. But I want to see the end. Yeah, but go to bed because you've got to be up at 5:30, and that's fucked. That's so gross. I assume you're travelling to somewhere else for this competition, are you? I know. Good. Need to go to the shops before we set off. What shops are going to be open? Bearing in mind as well, it is a Sunday. Maybe taking the head judge there. Oh, God. Oh, good luck. Hence stupid early start, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's go Express, I suppose. Yeah, no, that's right. They open at 6. Okay, fair. Good for them. Not the staff, but good for them. But yes, have a great time though, and do go to sleep. Yeah. Of course. And thank you for hanging this whole time. I appreciate it. Right, I should be able to get a good look at the Spectre if I wait for it here, always. Thanks. That looks really shit. Why does that look so bad? There you go. Kind of. No. Maybe. I'm not a zoomer. There you go. I want the two of you to hide somewhere out of the way. I don't know what you just put in chat, Berry, but it's having a skill issue. I mean, Twitch is having a skill issue with it. I can't read it. Yes, go. Oh, I see. I think I got it. I think I got the emote now. Heart hands. Oh, wow. Right. What? You want me to just run and hide? As your assistant, I'm going to be right by your side, no matter the danger. Consider me your assistant as well, Mr. Layton. I appreciate this, but I can't put either of you in danger. I'm sure we're not in any danger as long as we're with you. The more pairs of eyes we have watching for the Spectre, the better, no? Well, I can't dispute that. Alright, you can stay with me, but the moment you sense danger, promise me you'll run for cover. Understood, Professor. You be careful too, Mr. Layton. Always. Now we wait for the Spectre. Cut scene.
It's the fog.
It's coming.
Let if you haven't gone yet, stay here.
The Spectre. I can feel it.
Oh, he's big.
I hear it, but I can't see anything.
Oh, that's not nice.
So this is a Spectre. Oh.
Professor, are you okay?
Mr.
Emmy.
Layton,
Luke.
you saw it, right? You got a good look at the Spectre.
Oh, yes. I got a very good look.
No worries, Blair, no worries. Whatever will help you sleep the best. Emmy, Luke, the Spectre is not at all what we imagined. It appears to be... Oh, fuck you. Deep voice engage. There they are. Apprehend them. Chief Constable Jakes. They're behind this. The old Spectre madness. They're responsible for destroying the town. What? That's a complete fabrication. Ha! You can't deny it. You can deny it all the way to the station, missy. Don't you call me that. Chief Constable Jakes, you can't be serious. Ugh. Stop! Unhand me! I warned you lot. Keep yapping! And I'll slap you with resisting arrest too. Okay. Yapping mentioned. Jakes, you know as well as I do we aren't the ones behind the Spectre. Far from it. In fact, the Spectre. Sure, arrest the child too, because he clearly kidnapped himself. Truly. Now, Layton. Oh, now, Layton. Own up to your crimes like a gentleman. Ha ha ha. Yapping mentioned. What the hell is staying on topic? All right. Take them away. Not door sound, MP4, MP3. Have a nice little nap. What? Where am I? Interrogation room. Nice, eh? I like to keep our prime suspects cozy. Let us out. We haven't done anything wrong. Stay calm, Luke. What do you want with us? I demand to see a solicitor. Do you? You've been reading too many pulp novels, missy. Once I explain to the town that the Spectre was your doing, you'll get your lawyer. If you know what's good for you, you'll just sit here quietly and keep your trap shut. Ah, that smug bully deserves a kick up his big fat... Not the latent censoring. Not the latent censoring. What is it, Mr. Layton? I've been thinking. Jakes and his men were immediately on the scene, but they weren't aware of Luke's prediction. No swearing in a Layton's Christian game. This is a Christian Layton stream. Thank you very much. That's true. The police hauled us off the moment the Spectre was gone. It's as if he knew the Spectre would appear there. And he was planning on having us arrested all along. Wait, what are you saying? I believe this is all connected to the true nature of the Spectre. Which is We must clear up one more mystery before I can be absolutely certain. Bro, you've already tried to tell us twice. Come on now. Luke knows about the black market. God forbid he hears the word ass, truly. Our first step now is to find a way out of here as quickly as possible. Professor, are you suggesting a jailbreak?
Oh, got him.
Ooh.
No problem. We don't gotta worry no more.
Worry?
What's so funny?
Oh, you must forgive my levity. I just find your confidence to be rather, what's the word? Quaint.
Is that right? You best watch your mouth.
You fool! As you stand here boasting, I guarantee that Leighton is breaking out of your provincial little prison cell.
That's just sparked a thought in me. Hang on. Maybe not. I was gonna say he's just slightly giving Mr. Scarface from Gotham. Just slightly. Like with the hat and the cheeks and the chin, maybe a little bit. But like, you know. Mama, I'm in love with a criminal. If it's latent, yes, absolutely. I see where the vision is, thank you. Also, I'm so excited. The mysterious figure drinking his tea, I'm sure at some point I'm going to get to read his dialogue. I'm so excited to do an impression of his own voice. Because I think I can nail that accent. Right, break out. Doorknob. Gotham is always the vision, truly. Mr. Leighton, the door won't open. It must be locked from the outside. There's a keyhole on this side of the door, but it's of little use without a key. Luke, Professor, stand aside, please. I think I can have this door down if I kick it just... Wait, Emmy, if we make a noise, our escape will be noticed. Let's first consider the alternatives. I know, Toppy can help us. Squeak. Wait, it's probably ready to redeem. Berry, go. Go, Berry, go. Now's your time. Squeak. Thank you. Toppy, we want to get out of this room. Can you bring the key? Squeak. Oh. What is it, Luke? There are 3 different keys. Toppy doesn't know which one is right. Well, Toppy's a dumbass. Key quandary, 30 picarats. Leighton, Luke and Emmy need to escape the police station. Luckily, Toppy has brought them a bunch of keys, but only one fits the lock. Which of these keys opens the door? The key will not open unless the key can be fully inserted and turned. C? I suppose it could be A. Because it looks like it looks like C is too long. I'm gonna go with A, you know.
This is what I've come up with.
Because you put in half, turn it, then the other half.
That was it.
Yeah. Great. Keys B and C won't even fit in that keyhole. However, you can insert A part way, then rotate it a half turn to insert the rest of the way. That did it. Now we can get out. Amazing stuff, Luke. You really can talk to animals. Quickly now, let's go. We still have to solve the riddle of the Spectre. Right, Professor. Let's just leave. Wait. Let's unleave. I just want to touch everything. A mahogany coat hanger, I believe. And up goes my coat. think I'll hang my bag up there for now. In that case, I'm going to hang up my camera too. Ooh. Hey, let's use the phone to call Luke's father for help. We've already left Emmy, but, you know, thanks. It looks like an internal line only, I'm afraid. Oh, bother, that's no help. Look, in the corridor I can see policemen milling around. They all wear the same uniform. Can they tell each other apart? Bit racist. Their manner suggests that the rules are not just for show here. Okay. Professor, there are police all over the place. We'll have to find some way to escape without being seen. Are we going to put on uniforms? Is that a thing? No, okay. Layden, Luke and Emmy need to get the keys and reach the exit without alerting any of the guards. There's a path that will allow the group to pick up the key on their way to the exit without passing in front of any guarded doorway or using the same corridor twice. Unfortunately, the corridors are all one way, so they must walk in the direction of the arrows. Draw a path that shows the group how they can make their escape. Right. Ooh. Looks like we can go this way, then down. Cross. Down. Back. Get the key. Across, down, across, across, across. Up. Oh shit. Up, up. That way, that way, that way, that way. Thoughts?
A challenging puzzle, to be sure.
Whee!
I love the thrill of a good solution.
Correct. The group have made it to the exit with the key and without being detected by the guards. Now they can escape the police station. Come on, you two. We should leave while no eyes are upon us. It seems we've got out safely. It's already morning. Wow. I still can't believe Chief Constable Jakes tried to lock us up. Jakes certainly seems intent on obstructing our investigation. So what do we do now? We have another puzzle to solve. Yippee. What's that? The Spectre's flute. What about it? The flute controls the Spectre, in a manner of speaking, that is. But we need to find out why the flute is audible all over town, and who is playing it. I just assumed that whoever played the music was with the Spectre. Whoever played the music was with the Spectre. Yeah. In this town, the wind could not carry the sound of a flute more than 100 yards. Not to mention it would be dangerous to play the flute in the area being attacked. We haven't seen anyone around during the attacks, yet we still clearly heard the flute. Luke, do you remember the sites the Spectre has attacked so far? All my predictions are logged in my notebook. Let's head back to High Yard Arch. We need to determine what the attack sites have in common. Right. I think we may wind it down there. Because it is midnight and all of us need to go to bed. Cheeky little save. Okay. According to my calculations, I reckon we've got about 2 streams left of this game. I think. Yes, it's definitely only midnight.
Go to bed.
Go to bed, Pop. Go to bed. Okay. I don't know if I've got anything else to yap about before we end stream. I like this song, it's so good.
They did stuff but didn't say they
Whoa,
wanted
ew,
anything.
ew, stop, shush. Okay, so. No, that's a better vibe. That's more of a vibe. Absolutely. So, yes, that's where we'll leave it for today. I appreciate you all for being here. We are going to go and raid Bailey today, because Bailey is live. And yeah, that will be good vibes. So, I appreciate you being here. I might stream again tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. I'll see how I go. I do like streaming on my days off, so that might be a good thing to do. TO for stream, of course. Phone is conveniently charged at 98%. Love that. Love that. Yeah. So, perhaps tomorrow, if not, it will be maybe like Monday or then a bit later in the week. Oh, I see. We got a minute. I'm gonna yap for longer than a minute, Barry. Have you met me? Of course, of course. I'm definitely not. Oh. Right. I'm definitely not streaming on Tuesday because I need to go to bed early on Tuesday because someone's allegedly coming at 7 a.m. to fit my washing machine, but also actually I am going to the cinema on Tuesday because of course I am. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see when I stream next. I want to go and see, right, shut up. I want to go and see Wild Robot. I might go and see that this week as well, because I'm really excited for that film. I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm so invested in that film. It looks so good. I really want to watch it. So I might do that as well. One night after work. I don't know when exactly. But we'll see. Sorry, just as a quick aside, because I know they're not currently watching, but if Sabine happens to be watching this VOD, I just figured I'd show you on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. They did a stream tonight of clips, because they keep doing these. They keep doing clips of moments that happened, like clip compilations. You know, you've got the sassiest Doctor Who villains, peak Stephen Moffat moments, companion entrances and exits, biggest plot twists. The one they did today, try not to cry, the most emotional moments in Doctor Who. Really? Like, no. I'm probably going to watch the whole thing. You do? Ooh, what is the set? Is it perhaps a TARDIS set, maybe? But that sounds very cool. That sounds very cool. Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, yeah, on a real level, I'll probably watch it. Because, like, oh my god. But I kind of need it. I kind of need that in my life. I'm tired.
Sorry, I'm looking through my YouTube subscription box now. Normal things. Ooh, I want to play Never on stream. I've seen a new game that's come out. Let me Google that. Oh, I love that. Oh, Capaldi's TARDIS. With Capaldi and with Clara. That's so cool. And a couple of Daleks just for fun. Just for good measure. Oh, a Weeping Angel. Ooh, huge. Did you all see they're adding Weeping Angels into Minecraft? That's wild. Not literally Weeping Angels, I should just clarify. But essentially Weeping Angels into Minecraft. That's a bit mad, isn't it? Sorry, I'm looking at the Lego sale now. Okay, nothing there I want. Cool. Yeah, what I was gonna say, I found a new game that I want to play on stream. No, stop making noise. It's called Never, or Neva, or Niva, I think it might be pronounced in the game as well, but it looks so pretty. Like, oh my god. Like, damn, I want to play this game. It looks so good. Okay, no spoilers for the game, but we might do that at some point soon. I mean, I've got games to play, I've got quite a few. But when we finish, I think I've seen the trailer. Yeah, it's just come out. It was in Nintendo Directs and things, I think. But yeah, I'm excited for that. That will be good. Yeah, I don't know what to play in between this Layton game and the next Layton game, because I've got that. Sorry, I'm holding us all hostage before we all go to sleep. Where are my Steam loads? Please. Please. Thank you. Yeah, I've got that. I could play Death's Door. I mean, I do have Journey. I actually started Journey and I didn't really vibe with it back in like 2020. But if I played it now, I might appreciate it more. Oh, we still need to play the next bit of the Snow Riders demo. That's come out. And then Tunic as well as the other game I've got, which I feel like will be a good stream game. I should play Tunic. Using writing, yes, Barry. I know it's your favorite thing to do on stream, but yes, there's you do in fact have another opportunity to ride me. Cheers. Yay. Love that for us. Did that really just close Steam? I didn't, like, my brain hadn't finished looking at that, but apparently I X'd out of it. Love that for me. I see an opportunity, you take an opportunity. Text me after stream. No. Sorry, that was me seeing an opportunity. Not to just completely divert the vibe, but there you go. Such a jam. Such a good one. I'm literally just yapping now. I should end the stream. Also, Bailey's been live for nearly like 5 hours. I don't know how long they're going for. But oh well. Okay. Okay. We're gonna do that. We're gonna go and raid Bailey. There you go. Copy paste that. In case you could fuck. Why didn't that work? Why did that work? That shouldn't have worked. Oh. Maybe Mimi's right after all. What the fuck is happening? No, I can't have this. Yeah, that's what I want. But delete the part that said message. I can't have this. I can't cope. No one laugh at me. Thanks. Thanks, friend. Why'd you fucking copy it weirdly? Is it a me problem? Is my raid message stupid, friends? There we go. It's easier if I don't copy it from within OBS. Right, okay. What a jam. What a fun time. Right. Let's go and raid Bailey. Bailey is playing Sims. And has been live for like genuinely 5 hours. So they're doing so well. Okay. Yeah, let's go do that. So everybody go get your raid messages and I will see you over there. I will probably not be able to sit in stream for too long because I got to wind down from my own bed. But yes, Barry, go to bed. Oh my god, you're on an early sleep schedule now. Go bed, have a great night. I'm sure we'll spam soon. Part as well, go to bed. Anyone else that's still lurking here, I appreciate you all for being here this whole time. And yeah, we will chat soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. I'll let you know in the Discord. It will be probably one of those days. See how we go. Okay. Love you, friends. Put us on the end screen. Okay, bye.
Squeak.